Hey, my name is Kelsey. I'm a genius here at United BMW. Today we're going to talk about some frequently asked questions with respect to the buttons in the vehicle. From what we've seen, the number one button that people have the most questions about but are the most afraid to push is this one here. Now, this is your active safety features kind of collected under here. You can also find it from my vehicle. So you can go into configure, and this is what shows you what safety features you have and what they're set to. So for example, if you want to change front collision mitigation, you can adjust that here. And you'll notice over here that the cars move as we change these. So the difference between these is only a second, and the car is moving to reflect when it will warn you. Same thing with lane departure warning here. If we change this, you'll notice that that kind of goes out. Steering intervention doesn't change anything. Active blind spot detection. It's going to move this car to show you how early or late it's going to warn you. So if we choose late, it means the car is right up next to you. If we choose early, it's a little farther away. So we always recommend leaving them on early just to be as safe as possible, but whatever you're comfortable with is more than fine. You will notice too that if we turn any of these off, this button turns orange. So anytime it's orange, it means that one or more of the systems has been turned off. If it's ever red, that means that there is an issue with one or more of the systems. Or if you ever don't see a color, that means that there is no information available. So you'll see that sometimes when you start the vehicle up for a moment, or if some of the systems have just been deactivated, you'll see that it is either red or gray as well. The second and third buttons that we get the most questions about are probably these two here. So this one is your SOS button. You can just push it. It's like a little launch key. You're going to press and hold this for a couple seconds, and you can just barely see there's a little light in there. So that will illuminate anytime you make a call. That's how you know that the call went through and it's active. And then once it is active, you'll see an active call here on your screen. Center will answer. They'll ask how they can help you. If you are in a severe accident, they'll automatically call you. Otherwise, it works pretty much like OnStar. This here is our sunroof. So if you push this back just a little bit, it's going to open the sunroof to a designated place. So it'll stop wherever you stop. If you push it all the way back, you'll feel kind of a click. It'll move back on its own. And then what most people don't know is if you push this back one more time, it'll move around another inch or so. So it doesn't do the full length of the glass, but it goes back a pretty good amount. And then to close it, same thing. You can close it just a little bit, or you can push through that click and it'll close automatically on its own. And then if you wanted to vent the glass, just push this straight up and it'll vent it. Push again and it'll close. These buttons here are your lights. So this one turns them both on, or you can do left or right. These buttons on our driver's side are a little bit reorganized from what we've seen in most of our older body style BMWs, but they're pretty much the same buttons. So your lock and unlock button have been moved back here to the back of the door handle, and some they're in front, or in others they're in the center console. Luckily now they're just right here. This is your memory seating now, so instead of being actually on the seat, you can see it here. So anytime you want to reset or you want to adjust and save the new one, you hit set and 1. You'll hear noise, and that just means that it's saved. So you can do this as many times as you need to with either one at any time that you need to. Over here, this top one here is your massage seating. So if your car is equipped with this feature, every time you push that, here on your screen, you'll see that you have different levels and different options that you can choose from. And then once it activates, you'll see it start moving on the screen. That's going to show you what it's doing when. So if you wanted to reduce the intensity or completely turn it off, you can just do so there. This button isn't on all of our models, but it is kind of neat. What you can do is you push this, you touch your controls like you were to adjust your seat, but it'll move your passenger seat. Coming back to our driver's side door, this is how you can open and close your trunk from the inside. This is only available on our SUVs. I am in a 2020 X5 right now. So you push it down to open it, and then you pull it up to close. You will have to hold it the entire time that it is closing, otherwise it'll stop wherever you take your finger away. Down here, these are how you adjust your side mirrors. These are your window controls, and then this one locks the back window so that if you have kids or pets back there, they can't roll the windows down. These buttons are your, what we call your light panel, or these just basically control the lights of the vehicle. So we recommend just leaving it in auto. It's just the easiest thing, you never have to think about it. If you want them off, just push off. If you want them on, push this button right there. That'll just turn them on. If you want your fogs, if you want your fogs, it's this button here. And you'll see all of these corresponding lights in your dash as well. So we'll turn those off, turn this back into auto. These are your parking lights, so those yellow corner lights, turns those on. These are for if you're parked on the side of the street, it illuminates the lights on one side only instead of both, and then that way drivers using the road can see your car a little bit easier. So it'll just activate the halos. It's not your full LED headlight. And then this here adjusts the brightness of your dash at night. I think over here, these are your cruise control buttons. Sometimes this will look different depending on what options your vehicle has. So this is our pretty standard cruise controls now. Limb, this one here is your speed limit assistant that essentially makes the local speed limit the top speed for the vehicle. You can of course accelerate out of that, but it's great in situations like a school zone where you absolutely don't want to go over the speed limit. You can press this and then just not have to worry about it. Otherwise, this is how you activate, set, and then resume or cancel, and then adjust your speed from here. Everybody's favorite button is the horn. If your vehicle is a 2019 or 2020, your heated steering wheel will be here. Otherwise, it'll be back here, right there, on your steering wheel. And then this is how you can adjust if you have electronic adjustments. Otherwise, you'll have a tab there that you pull down and then make your adjustments from there. These buttons over here, volume, this is how you skip between channels or songs. When you push this, you'll see your radio or entertainment display information pop up in your head-up display, but you can change that to show you your dash. Push this and it'll activate a call to the last person that you spoke to. This here is a voice commands button. So if you tap it just one time, it will do BMW iDrive or the personal assistant. If you press and hold it, it'll activate Siri. Over here, we've already talked about this one. These are your flashers. And then cooled seats here. When you push that, you'll have the option to make any adjustments that you want. You can have them both on at the same time if you prefer. This is your max front defroster, rear defrost. This button here, if you take it out of auto, this controls where the fans are blowing, and it'll show you where your changes are being made here. Auto makes this ambient temperature sensor control of the vehicle. So basically what's happening is instead of blowing out 75-degree air from the vents, it's keeping the temperature in the cabin at 75 degrees. So it's a lot nicer. You don't have to think about it as much. It keeps you much more comfortable. This is how you control your fan speed. If you want it off, just keep pushing it down and eventually it'll turn off. This bottom button turns on and off the AC. The top opens up the climate control menu that we'll talk about in just a moment. Over here, these are just the same too. Same with this one. Max AC turns the fans all the way up and the temperature all the way down to cool you down as quickly as possible. And this controls the air recirculation within the cabin. Now, if you hit your menu button, you'll see your climate control menu come up. So under air quality, you can change the way the air recirculates, and it'll show you as you scroll through what those different options do. Under heating and ventilation, you can adjust the temperature or the fan speed of your driver's side. This temperature adjustment is what used to be a dial, either under both vents or one in the middle that looks just like this. Basically what this does is it adjusts the temperature of this vent by 3 degrees. So for example, in the winter when you're trying to heat the car up rapidly and you have all that hot dry air blowing on your face, you can cool it down and be much more comfortable. Synchronize makes this one the master control for the whole car. It used to be a button down here that just said sync. Now it's moved in here. Under seat and armrest heating, if your vehicle is equipped with armrest heating, you can turn it off if you don't like it or leave it on. You can change the seat heating distribution, which means if you prefer it more on the back or more on the bottom, you can make those adjustments here. Climate control rules. Happening here is you can make a preference if you want the seat heaters to activate automatically under a certain temperature, and you control at what level they come on. Same thing with seat ventilation. So here in Atlanta, it's typically about 100 degrees in the summer, so you can set it for preconditioning and ventilation. This is where you can set departure times for preconditioning, and if you have remote start, if your vehicle is fitted with it, you can turn that on. You do have to remember that if it is illegal in your area, you cannot use it. We are not responsible for monitoring whether or not it is legal in your county or your state. So that's all this is saying. We can hit OK, and then that option is activated going forward. All right, looking at our entertainment controls, you will notice first that there is no CD player. Those have just been taken out. At this time, we do not have an option for a retrofit from the dealer, but hopefully that's coming soon. This is how you can skip forward and backward with songs, just like the one on the steering wheel that we looked at. Mode and band are the same that they've always been, so it'll take you between all of your different radio options if you just continue pushing. And then, of course, volume, mute. These are your hotkeys, so you can save phone numbers or addresses or menu options under any of these. So for example, if we wanted to save music collection to number 1, we would highlight music collection with the amber bar. We're going to press and hold number 1. You'll see that bar go all the way across the top, and then it'll make a noise when it's saved. All right, looking down here, this is how you open and close that. This is your wireless charger if your car is fitted with it. Sometimes it's horizontal, sometimes you have a storage space here. BMW hasn't told us why. This is our key. This is your USB port here. It is the only USB port in the vehicle. This is a 12-volt charging port. It can be a cigarette lighter if you prefer. You just have to buy the attachment for it. Coming down to these buttons, we're gonna make it through all of them. So home is just what brings you to this screen there. This is connected drive, so you push that and it takes you to your installed apps. Map takes you to your map. Nav takes you to your navigation. Media takes you to your radio menu. Com is communication. These are the same keys that we've always had in our BMWs with these controllers. So back will take you to the last menu that you were in. So for example here, we are most recently at home. If we hit back again, it will take us back to the radio and then back home. Option is like a right click on a computer. It's going to look a little bit different depending on what menu you're in. So for example, from the home screen, if we push option, it's going to give us a couple different things to choose from. We can turn off the screen, push any button to bring it back. This button up here is your traction control. So if you wanted it half off or completely off, you can make those selections. Those are determined by how long you press or hold this button. Here in Georgia, we really don't have many needs to do that, but if you prefer to drive with it off, that's up to you. This button here brings up your front camera when the car, So when the car is on, this button will bring up your front camera. I'm not turning the car on because we're in the showroom. So that'll bring up your front camera. It's like a fisheye lens on the front between the two kidney grills. Or if your car was most recently in reverse, it'll show you a fisheye view of the rear. This here is your backup camera. So here we can see our beautiful showroom. We do have an overhead view available on this one. This is where you can adjust your self-parking. That's not now called automatic parking. You can turn on your backup assistant. You can adjust your camera image. You can come into settings, make any of those selections that you'd like. And then over here, this is where you get a 3D view. You have gesture controls. You can make that basketball hoop and get a full view of your vehicle. You can even see the people walking by us right now. And then also stored under this tab is your parking view that it starts in, and then your car wash view. So if you prefer to use car washes with rails, this will show you where your wheels are pointing. You can make sure that you don't scratch them on those rails. So back to parking. These here, you can select any of these and it will show you the view from that camera. So these are your side cameras. and then automatic is just the rear. Coming back down to our center console, this is your automatic start stop button. I do have a full video of that on the United BMW page, but to keep it short here, if you wanted to turn that auto start stop off, you just push this button and that light will come on. If you have a 2018 or newer vehicle, you do have to turn this off every single time. If you have a 2019 or newer vehicle with iDrive 7, your start stop button, your engine button is right there. So just press the brakes, hold that, and your engine will start. These are your driving dynamics buttons. Newer ones have adaptive. That will adjust the driving mode based on where and how you're driving. Otherwise, the car always starts in comfort. You can put it up into sport or down into Eco Pro at any point, or Sport Plus if your vehicle is equipped with it. BMW, we do not have an option here at the dealer to change what mode it starts in. So when the car is on, you can turn this on. There will be a green light that illuminates here, and when you come to a complete stop, the car will hold itself in place. So then you can take your foot off the brake, and when you're ready to go, you just tap the gas and you take off like normal. It's great on a hill, but you do still have to watch it and make sure that you don't roll back, because if it's a steeper hill, it won't always hold. Electronic parking brake to turn it off, pull it up, put it on, you push it down. This is your hill descent control. So when you push it, when the vehicle is on, you'll see an option in your dash to set a speed that you want to go down a hill at. You adjust that speed by adjusting this dial here. Again, I do have a full, more in-depth video on the United BMW page. And finally, one of our last buttons, this one here. This opens your center console. Got some stickers. This is one of 3 USB-C ports here in the vehicle. The other 2 are on the backs of the front seats next to our accessories port. That has been a very fast overview of all of the buttons that we see most often here in the cabin. Now, like I said, this is a 2020 X5, so you won't see all of the buttons that we talked about in every single model that we have, and some of them do have slightly different buttons, but for the most part, that's pretty much what we see. If you have any other questions, please always feel free to leave us a comment down below.